बना लिया पीछे बैकग्राउंड?
हाँ, अब ये बैकग्राउंड हमारी डॉटर ने बना दिया, मैंने नहीं बनाया।
अच्छा लग रहा है सर।
You know the young generation can always help you in all these matters.
Yes, sir.
Because otherwise you were always conscious कि background क्या होना चाहिए. So now here there is no such problem.
Yes, sir. Yeah. It is looking universal and international. कहीं पता नहीं चल रहा है कहाँ से बोल रहे हैं.
Yeah, that's right. It is half globe.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
They say global south.
Yeah.
So how is everything? All okay? Dr. Rakshit? All
Yes, sir, everything is fine, sir.
Set for
Yeah. So
wish you all the success on this day.
Thank you, sir. Your blessings are our. So, sir, if you permit, then shall we start?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I mean Dr. Prabhu is chairing,
Dr. Prabhu,
so you
sir.
ask him.
Yes, sir. Sir.
So,
Sir, thank you.
Prabhu, sir, for convenience, shall we? I have identified one of scientists
Yes.
So that he knows the sequence and other things.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Ala Singh.
Yes. Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, distinguished participants and guests. Sir, I'm Ala Singh, and today we are celebrating 7th Foundation Day of the Institute. The dedicated efforts towards maize research in the country started in 1957, when ICAR established the first coordinated crop improvement project on maize in 1975. It was further upgraded to Directorate of Maize Research in 1994. And on 9th February 2015, DMR was upgraded to ICAR-Indian Institute of Maize Research to further consolidate the maize research program in the country. So before proceeding further, I would like to begin with the ICAR song. And I request Dr. Roman to please play the song.
Dr. Roman.
जय जय कृषि परिषद भारत की, सुखद प्रतीक हरित भारत की। कृषि धन पशुधन मानव जीवन, दुग्ध मत्स्य फल यंत्र सुवर्धन। वैज्ञानिक विधि नव तकनीके, पारिस्थितिकी का संरक्षण। शस्य श्यामला छवि भारत की, जय जय कृषि परिषद भारत की। हिम प्रदेश से सागर तट तक, मरुधरती से पूर्वोत्तर तक। हर पथ पर है मित्र कृषक की, शिक्षा शोध प्रसार सकल तक। आशा स्वावलंबित भारत की, जय जय कृषि परिषद भारत की। जय जय कृषि परिषद भारत की।
Thank you, sir. Sir, I would now like to request Dr. Sujay Rakshit, Director, ICAR-IIMR, to kindly give the welcome address and highlight the achievements of the Institute in the last year.
Thank you, Dr. Ala Singh. Today's chief guest, Padma Bhushan, Dr. R.S. Paroda, guest of honor, Dr. S.K. Sharma, today's chairman, Dr. K.V. Prabhu, chairperson, PPV FRA, co-chair, Dr. R.K. Singh, Assistant Director General, Commercial Crop and FFC, ICAR. My teacher, Dr. R.M. Singh, my distinguished directors from different institutes, VIPCAS, IFED, ATARI, and other ICR institutes, scientists from different institutes, in charges and scientists from AICRP on maize, members of IMR family, colleagues from CEMET and VISA, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed our great honor to have with us today Padma Bhushan, Dr. R.S. Paroda as our chief guest. And Doctor, I welcome you, sir. I know that you have a lot of other engagement, but still you have accepted our invitation. So this itself shows that how much importance you give to maize. I also welcome our guest of honor, Dr. S.K. Sharma, who also happens to be the chairman of our RSC. Dr. K.V. Prabhu, chairperson, PPPFR. Sir, we are working closely with your organization and in form of dust testing as well as revision of guidelines. So your guidance always matters a lot, and I look forward to your guidance. Our all-time friend, Dr. R.K. Singh, he is always supportive to us from ICAR. Today, DDG Crop Science couldn't join because he had some other engagement. So he is representing ICAR. Dr. R.M. Singh, sir, whatever we are doing, we have learned from you. Today, I am really honored to have two of my teachers, you as well as Dr. Prabhu, sir. So I'm really honored to have you with us. And I welcome all of you. Along with that, I welcome all the scientists, directors, and other colleagues from maize family, larger maize family from the country, as well as representatives from CIMIT and VISA. Sir, just with permission of chair, just briefly, I'll share the significant achievement of our institute in last reporting year. So, sir, last year we have released two hybrids. Both of them are QPM hybrid. One of them has already been commercialized. Along with that, we have registered 4 sources of resistance against Terticum leaf blight. So they are being used now in our systematic breeding program. So we are not only releasing, but we are aggressively trying to commercialize our technologies. And you can see that over a period, our commercialization process is increasing. So last year, we took up commercialization, and 9 commercialization happened, which accounted to around 25 lakh resource generation. Sir, if you look at the share of IIMR and DSC seed indent, we are having highest share, 33.5%. So this itself shows that how important our hybrids are gaining acceptance among the farmers. So this is the breeder seed productions that last over a few years we are slowly increasing. So last year we have supplied almost 76.4 quintal breeder seeds. We don't have any revolving fund for seed production. That is a bit handicapped, but still we are trying our level best so that the demand which is sources, they are made by us. So if you take up look at the AICRP, total 24 of our entries are at various stages of advanced testing, and we are having almost we are in all the groups of maize, be it rabi maize, kharif maize, quality protein maize, baby corn, popcorn, or sweet corn. We have contributed, and they are in advanced stages of testing. Sir, last year we took up a very big exercise. Whole germplasm which was available with the gene bank, national gene bank, around 11,647, they were taken out and they were grown at one place. So our one scientist, Dr. Chikappa, took this lead, and this whole material has been physically characterized, as well as we have characterized running drones which have been run and different crop phenological stage, and accordingly crop has been characterized. From this, one set was evaluated at hotspots for many diseases, but I'm just highlighting against BLSB. You may be aware that we were not having any sources of resistance against BLSB. But now, after testing this material across 5 locations, we have identified 8 sources of resistance, and that would be really a significant contribution, and all credit goes to Dr. Chikappa. Sir, we are also identifying genomic region. Here I am taking example of TLV. Through association mapping of a panel of 384 lines, we have identified genomic regions, and they are being further utilized in our breeding program. In marker resist selection also we are working. Here I am taking example of high amylose. Similarly for high amylopectin, low phytic acid, QPM, obviously we are working. Sir, this was a significant breakthrough. Till now, though there are a lot of reports of tissue culture in maize, but tropical maize are always recalcitrant. So earlier we reported one regeneration protocol from immature embryo, but this time we have succeeded in getting as high as 60% regeneration from mature embryo, so that throughout the year we can get the explant, and we have succeeded in transforming also. So this paper has come in plant cell, tissue, and organ culture. So in our NRMs, we have clearly demonstrated by conservation agriculture and residue retention, the soil quality in terms of reduced bulk density or reduced penetration resistance is reported. And what we found that after this practicing zero tillage, the non-labile soil organic carbon is increasing significantly as compared to conservation tillage, which is shown in the left side of the pie chart. So this is a significant progress. And we also conducted microbiome study for this zero tillage versus conservation tillage, which I am not presenting here. So in case of entomology, you know, fall armyworm is a big challenge. We have identified 4 sources of resistance. Out of that, the last one, that is DMR E63, it is totally indigenous material. So, and along with that, we have identified, our POU group has also identified another source which we are using. So towards the fall armyworm, we conducted 60 trainings benefiting more than 3,000 stakeholders. Similarly, our scientist, Dr. Subi, has developed one EDV, NDVI-based screening for spotted stem borer, which will help us in digital data capture. Similarly, we are towards identification of races. We have characterized 61 isolates from 11 different states, and we are progressing towards race identification in TLB. So in our Agribusiness Incubation Center, it is very new. We started in 2019, and a lot many value-added products have been developed. But not only we have developed, we have trained farmers amidst COVID challenge. Also, we conducted free trainings in Bihar, and a lot of rural entrepreneurs are coming up. And 2 startups have joined in our ABI as a business incubator during this period. Sir, towards outreach, conducting more than FLDs in over 1,000 hectares. Our average yield gain, which we have demonstrated, is nearly 34.5%. And we also conducted a training, 95 training program benefiting more than 5,000 farmers and farm families. Sir, always it is said that in Punjab and Haryana, maize can be a good crop to diversify, but the yield level is very low as compared to the state rice yield. But we have conducted extensive demonstration along with CIMIT, State Agriculture University, as well as Department of Agriculture. And you can see that we have achieved as high as 70 plus quintal maize yield in the farmer's field. So this clearly indicate that yield realization is possible. But the experience we have or lessons we have learned is that inter-district and inter-farmer variation is quite high. So a lot of handholding is required. But the main requirement is that upskilling the best management practices and price realization. That is the biggest hurdle so far popularization of maize in this region is concerned. So we are also demonstrated that what advantage maize can show vis-a-vis upland rice, even in the eastern region, and that is we have it has come out. Even if we take the realized price by the farmer, then also there is a substantial economic advantage as compared to upland rice. So towards publication, sir, we had you can see that more than 8 or more than 10, we have a significant number of more than 50% of our publication in our coming in high-ranking journal. We have also released 2 policy papers and 4 technical bulletins. And year before last, we got Best AICRP Award. This year, we got Best Annual Report Award. Along with that, our scientists have got many prestigious awards, including A.B. Joshi Memorial Award or NAS Associateship and other awards. So this is in brief what we have achieved. Sir, now thanks to all of you. Now I request Allah Singh to go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for highlighting the achievements of the institute in the last year. So now I would like to request Dr. R.K. Singh, ADG, CC and FFC, ICAR, for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Allah. Most respected and honorable Padam Bhushan, Dr. R.S. Paroda ji, ex-DG ICR and Secretary Dare and presently Chairman of TRAS. Respected Dr. K.V. Prabhu ji, Chairman, Plant Protection and Farmer Right Authority. Dr. S.K. Sharma ji, Farmer Vice Chancellor, CSK, HPKV, Palampur. Other distinguished scientists, directors of different institutes, respected Dr. Rishi Muni Singh Saab, learned professor, Director Sujay Rachit, Director IIMR, heads of division, regional centers of IMR, staff of IMR and AICRP, learned scientists, ex-staff of IMR, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to be present here on the occasion of celebration of 7th Foundation Day of IMR, an important institute of Crown Science Division of ICR. As you have already shown the progress of 1 year as presented by our director, young director, Dr. Sujay Rachit. First of all, I welcome you all on my own behalf, on behalf of ICR to you all. Sir, as you all know and told by the Dr. Sujay Rachit, maize is the second most important crop in the world and in terms of acreage, and is called as the queen of cereals. Maize accounts for the major share of coarse grain now production and contributes to strengthen the food and nutrition security of the country. And nowadays, it is also recognized as one of the potential energy crop. And I am happy to share with you all, as you are aware, that AICRP system, which is the best system of the world, to identify the local specific varieties and technology to increase the production productivity of the crops, was first initiated in May 1957. Recognize the research in the area on the maize, and this AICRP was upgraded to as the Directorate of Maize Research in 1995, and then upgraded as an institute in 2015. And this shifting and headquarters was in Delhi in the campus of IRI. Now it is shifting of the institute from New Delhi to Ludhiana, was instituted in the year in 2015, and now completely shifted in Ludhiana in 2017. Sir, as I am not man of maize research anyway, but it is my pleasure to share you the since the establishment of the AICRP on maize, which is completing about 65 years, the maize production was increased by over 10 times, and area 2.5 times, and productivity 3.5 times. Such type of higher growth is in production and productivity is not only possible due to the increase in area, but it is a technology and variety developed by the different research center of India, particularly the many researchers are responsible for that. I must congratulate to them at the occasion of 7th Foundation Day of IMR Ludhiana. Sir, as in India, near about 47 of total maize production is utilized as poultry feed, 13% as livestock feed, 14% for industrial purpose, and 7% as processed food. And still there is a need to increase the production and productivity of the maize to further strengthen of the food and nutrition security of our country. And as Dr. Suja Rashid has told, that the yield is near about 3.2 ton per hectare, which is much lower, just half to the average of the world yield of 5.8 ton per hectare. However, in Rabi season, maize is a renewal high, which is more 4.8 ton per hectare. Our consideration of to increase the production, to increase the area in the Rabi season will be more. It is important to increase the production of our country. Anyway, a lot of learned persons are there, and we must listen to them on the occasion of this 7th day celebration. And as Dr. Suja Rashid, has director of the institute, has presented the achievement of 1 year, and ICAR headquarters is proud on such type of remarkable achievement has been done by this institute, and hope there is in the field of particularly in the bridal development, technology development, and basic research also, and in publication, and most important things he is listed near protected is 6 hybrids under PPV and FRA. It is very important to protect our varieties and hybrids, and we are going to compete with the private seed industry. And he has signed 9 MOUs with the to commercialize the IMR hybrids with the private seed industry, which will strengthen the quality seed supply and increase the role of private public sector in the hybrid seed production in the country. With these words, I hope I am not going tell too much about this, and as a learned and speaker, we must listen to the speaker, today's speaker, very learned scientist and visionary, and hope the director in research staff of IIMR and AICR-IIMR may take a lesson from the lecture of most learned and visionary scientists, you can say, and stater and all these, Professor Prodhaji, from his speech, and include these recommendations made by the Prodha Sahab in his research program, in future research program, to improve the production and quality of the maize in basic research also. With these words, I must congratulate the whole staff of the institute for remarkable achievement during 2021. I wish all the success of the institute in the future. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving them a chance to interact with you people. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your words of appreciation and encouragement to do more research. Now, I would like to request Dr. Sai Das for providing his valuable insight.
Good morning to everyone. My teacher, most respected Dr. Prodha Sarji, Dr. Prabhuji, Dr. Sharmaji, Dr. R.M. Singhji, Director of the Institute, Dr. Suja Rashid, and all the learned scientists of DMR and directors of various institutes. Thank you very much, Dr. Rashid, inviting me to share my views. First, I congratulate for the excellent work being done, the IIMR. Now, it is all credit goes to Dr. R. Prodha sir, who is the one who brought this project 1988, a single cross hybrid, which was nowhere being done in this country. though we started in the very beginning, when project started in 1957, but we shifted back to composite variety, double cross composite varieties, and nowhere then. Now it is he who has brought two projects, one our bank and another from NATP. And that was the place that made the maize as a place today in the country, and maize is continue to play an important role today and coming time. Now, maize have been an importer of maize for feed industry and starch industry, even for food. But today, Dr. Baroda Sarji, due to your this significant project bringing, and corn has revolutionized through single cross hybrid technology. Now this is the place. Now today we are, except popcorn, we are exporter of everything. We are exporter of grain, we are exporter of starch, we are exporter of baby corn, we are exporter of sweet corn, and we are even exporter of the silage. Silage is also going from this place. And now due to maize, which has been a scarcity of green fodder for livestock industry and dairy industry, now you can see the milk production and grain, maize fodder has also correlation. This is the best kind of fodder for the dairy industry. It can be grazed to the cattle at any growth stage. And this is the result that maize has livelihood security to the people and also integrated to agriculture. Today, we talk of the climate change, and maize is one example which has fit in the cropping system and answer to the climate change, whether growing rising temperature, and maize area is being shifted to Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Bihar. And considering the low productivity of rice in winter season in southern India and eastern India, Bengal, which was having just few thousand hectare land, today it is touching more than 5 lakh hectares. Odisha, where there was no rice in winter season, now today it has replaced maize. Now it is replaced from rice to maize. Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. Now maize has in the cropping diversification, and it is going very well in certain districts of Karnataka as an intercrop maize with pulses. Like Bidar district, people used to grow soybean arar, which are long duration crop, and farmers are suffering. So to cover the risk, the maize has fit evaluate. So I will not take much time. Many people are here to speak. So thank you very much, Dr. Rakshit, inviting me and also sharing my views and also learning from the many dynamic people on the dais and of the dais. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for highlighting the importance of maize in the emerging market, like dairy, and its importance for livelihood security as well. Now I would like to request Dr. O.P. Yadav sir to kindly share his remarks.
Thank you very much. Let me first confirm whether I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks for confirmation. Very Honorable Dr. R.S. Baroda Sahib, highly respected and a great colleague and wonderful friend, PPV Chairman Dr. K.V. Prabhu. I salute you, sir. You are saluting me. Thank you very much. And Dr. S.K. Sharma, again a great mentor to many of us. Dr. Sujay Rakshit, Director of IIMR. I can see many colleagues, Dr. Karyalu, Dr. R.M. Singh, Dr. Tara Satyavati, Dr. R.K. Singh, and many others. I'm not able to see all of them on one screen. That's the disadvantage of having these meetings on virtual background. But fact is that it's a good opportunity. And thank you very much, Sujay, for reconnecting me with the maize community and some of the wonderful friends with whom I have worked in the past. So let me extend all greetings on this occasion, 7th Foundation Day of Indian Institute of Maize Research. You look very young when you say you are celebrating 7th Foundation Day, but in fact your program is completing 65 years of existence in the country. And I remember the first Foundation Day when Dr. K.V. Prabhu, Dr. Mahapatra, and many others, we celebrated first Foundation Day in the auditorium of NRCPB. At that time, you were working in sorghum. But this is a great opportunity for me to reconnect with you. And I have always been fascinated by the maize species, not only as a student, but also as a scientist. Then I was fascinated to lead the maize program of this country for almost 4 years. And in that small period, I learned a lot of things regarding maize. And also I had a great amount of interaction with Dr. Paroda. Of course, he has been my teacher in the university, but that was the time when I interacted with him to a great extent. And we realized how much he has contributed to the development and upscaling and the really taking further maize program of the country. Maize has really fascinated even in certain ways. And it has changed its dynamics for the last 5 decades. It has changed the dynamics in its cultivation. Maize has changed in dynamics in its production, and maize has changed the dynamics in its utilization. Now, maize cultivation is being now taking from north to the south. Now, at one point of time, for a large period of time rather, we were having Rajasthan as the #1 state in cultivation, but now it has gone to Karnataka. Production is expanding from Rabi to the Kharif, from Kharif to Rabi season. And from the utilization point of view, we are moving from the food crop to the feed crop. So that way, I think nothing can be more exciting than the changing dynamics of this crop. And when we talk of the last 25 years, maize has been truly fascinating as a crop in the country. And not only area has expanded, the productivity is expanded. With the result, the production is going up. 3.5% growth rate in productivity. That also in a crop, which is 60% rain-fed. What can be expected more? So 3.5% growth rate in productivity. It is only next to palm millet. Palm millet is enjoying 4.2%. But when you compare with other 2 major crops, wheat and rice, we are growing the productivity at the rate of 1%. So congratulations to all the previous leaders, Dr. Saindas, many others, and especially Dr. Paroda, that our research program was basically directed in such a way that we were really prepared to really take up the challenge. Unlike wheat and rice, we didn't enjoy the government policy in maize, but we did enjoy one great policy from the government, and that policy was basically spearheaded by Dr. Paroda and his team. When the private sector was given full liberty in this country, not only to conduct the research, but also to take the products to the farmer's field. And that really set the scene. That situation was really very favorable for maize. And for that, I must acknowledge a great support of Dr. Paroda sir, for not only since beginning, I think we are seeing you as a propagator of maize. And of course, whole agriculture has been a really fully indebted to you. But when we come to maize, we really find a great supporter in you. But maize has another distinction. I have a fascination for historical analysis. And you see the year 1965 to 1985, when we saw a wonderful progress in wheat, rice, palm millet, and sorghum, the rate of increase in maize yield was coming down. While it was going up in all 4 crops, rate of yield increase came to 50% in maize, for the simple reason, because we moved away from hybrids. When Dr. Atwal and Dr. Pokhriyal, they were working silently on the hybrid palm millet, and also Dr. NGP Rao in hybrid sorghum, in maize we were moving away from hybrids, particularly when one was witnessing the single cross hybrid revolution. And I know, Dr. Paroda sir, you always show that wonderful slide of the maize improvement program of US, when you have a very consistently parallel line with x-axis, no improvement in the productivity for more than 70 years. The moment they moved to the single cross hybrids, it was a quantum jump. I think similar witness we also had in our country once we switched over to the single cross hybrids and some of the analysis that we did in the past. And I'm very happy, sir, that when Dr. Sujay Rakshit was presenting, it was a good acknowledgement of the previous efforts that were undertaken by the previous leaders of the crop and also leaders at the ICAR level. Somehow I do not know how, Sujay, you missed the inauguration of the double haploid facility in Bangalore. I think this is one of the most important interventions that has happened in the maize. It's a great pleasure to see that it was inaugurated by Dr. R.S. Paroda. We have been talking about the double head facilities when I was in maize. There were meetings after meetings after meetings after meetings, but everything happened, but DS facility didn't come up. Now we have this DS facility, now the onus lies on you, Dr. Rakshit. You are the leader of this country in maize. Now let us see that this facility is used to the maximum extent. When you can really, you increase your speed breeding program, within 2-3 generations, you are having hybrids. I think now we need to really take this message very, very comprehensively. I'm really very happy to see when you share that the breeder seed share of IIMR, 33.3%. Congratulations to you. And last month you shared with me also that quite interesting information. I think you must mention it before on this platform when Dr. Paroda, Dr. Saindas, Dr. Prabhu, Dr. S.K. Sharma are there, that you could sell the breeder seed of the inbred lines of the maize hybrids developed by IIMR to the tunes of 80 lakhs of rupees. I think nobody will be more happy than Dr. Saindas today. Dr. Saindas, 80 lakh rupees breeder seed sold from IIMR. I think this was your dream, right? And this is the thing which is happening today. You also probably forgot to mention that you basically outsourced 13 hybrids through public-private partnership, taking your ICAR on the same platform. I also recollect one happy moment when Dr. Prabhu, I invited you in the IRC of the institute, and both of us sat together for more than 10 hours. And at that time, many of the younger scientists were basically budding their career in maize. And you said that I can see more of a flavor of the project coordinating unit in a DMR rather than a lead institute taking a research program further. And it is exactly 10 years before. And if you see the performance today, I think those budding scientists are really doing a wonderful piece of work. And nothing can be more satisfying, not only for you, but also for me, that at the 10 years time, 10 years before, when we were, both of us were slightly worried, I think that was the time when the science was really taking good shape on the platform of DMR. So let it be Bhupender, Vishal, Abhijit, KK, SL, and I can see also Dr. Emil Jat over here. Sir, another thing I would like to request Dr. Rakshit, you must go through that paper. The paper has come in the proceedings of New York Academy of Sciences in the last week. They have analyzed the trend in the maize productivity in the Nebraska state of US. The title is very catchy. The environment and agronomy leads the improvement in the maize yields, and it is not the breeding, it is not the genetics. There are some shortcomings in the methodology. Of course, it is written by one of the top guns at the international level. But I also feel that probably agronomy in the maize crop has not been fully exploited. Dr. Sai Das always used to say that date of sowing and rate of fertilizer. Agronomists didn't come forward beyond date and rate. Now it is time to really explore the possibility. See what has happened in the 30V92. 32V92 is a maize hybrid. It was famous with PPFRA, all for the wrong reasons. But fact is that 30V92 completely redefined the agronomy of maize in our country. Dr. Sai Das will agree with me. The population was increased by 100% almost in the Rabi season. And that really showed what is the potential of the maize, not only in Bihar, but also in Andhra Pradesh. I think genetic diversification is another further area I would like to spend 2 more minutes, which you need to take further. In northern India, we failed to diversify the agriculture through maize. In spite of all those tremendous efforts by Haryana Commission led by Dr. Paroda. But area in Haryana less than 10,000 hectares, right? And also what is happening in Punjab, the diversification needs to be done, but genetic diversification probably need to be taken further. And for that, I think the heterotic grouping. Please take care of this. If you drive everything from the hybrids, you will be producing wonderful inbreds, but you will not be producing productive hybrids. So I'm sure these were some of the points which basically moved forward when TAS organized a very important brainstorming session. And on that platform, various points came forward. And also, I must appreciate and compliment your efforts to take initiative to deal with the fall armyworm problem. Had you not taken those initial steps right in the beginning, probably fall armyworm would have caused a tremendous production losses in our country. But the appropriate step taken by you and your team, Dr. Rakshit, it is really very good. So I'm really very happy to be really with Dr. Ishwar Singh. I can also see you, Dr. SL. Good to see you as well, KK. And I know so time is limited. But let me thank you profusely, Dr. Rakshit, for connecting me and also sharing my views in the presence of Dr. Proda, Dr. Sai Das, Dr. S.K. Sharma, Dr. K.V. Prabhu. Thank you very much and wish you all the best. And I'm sure in times to come, we will continue to celebrate Foundation Day. And on each Foundation Day, you will share with us something which is very exciting in science in maize, something which is very exciting, the production in maize. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, sir, for highlighting the dynamics in production utilize of maize in the last 5 decades. Sir, I would also like to inform that the paper that you mentioned about University of Nebraska, directors have shared that paper when it came, and now institutional level deliberations on that are also happening. Sir, thanks for that also, sir. So now I would like to request our guest of honor, Dr. S.K. Sharma, sir, former Vice Chancellor CSK HCKV, to kindly share his insightful remarks.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ala Singh. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Most respected Dr. R.S. Paroda, Chairman TAS, and the chief guest of today's function, Dr. K.P. Prabhu, Chairperson PBFRA and Chairman of the inaugural session, Dr. R.K. Singh, ADG ICR, Dr. O.P. Yadav, Director Kazri, and the former Director of the Institute, Dr. Sai Das, former Director, Dr. Sujay Rakshit, the current Director, very distinguished scientist, Dr. R.M. Singh, the Directors of the Institute, scientists, staff, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I congratulate the director, scientists, staff, and all of you on the occasion of the 7th Foundation Day of the Institute and wish them and the Institute a great future for time to come. You have just heard Dr. R.K. Singh, ADG, Dr. Sai Das, Dr. O.P. Yadav, and they have shared their experiences, viewpoints about the institute, about the crop, and a very good pieces of advice have emerged. Soon, you would also be listening to Dr. Paroda and Dr. Prabhu, who are the fountainhead of the knowledge and very innovative ideas, policies. And therefore, in my present talk, it would be limited to a few minutes where I would be sharing my views. Historically, Institute deals with the maize crop, and maize has attracted the attention of the geneticists and the breeders right in the beginning of the 20th century, when the disciplines of genetics and plant breeding were growing. The concept of hybrid maize, hybrid vigor, which was given by George Schell in 1909, is considered as one of the greatest achievements in the history of plant breeding. He is considered as the father of hybrid maize. Likewise, after the experiments of Gregor John Mendel, whose results formed the basis of the laws of inheritance, which were later on validated by Thomas Hunt Morgan, it was Barbara McClintock who worked very extensively on maize for about 3 decades or so, and proved that the genes are not only located on chromosomes, but they also move. They are movable, not only from chromosome to chromosome, but also on the same chromosome, to which she called mobile elements. And now we call them transposable elements. They are transposons or IS elements, depending upon their size. And, it was not only maize. Later on, it was found that these mobile elements or transposons or transposable elements are present not only in prokaryotes, but also in eukaryotes. And they are fairly represent a very good proportion in the genome. For example, in human beings, around 40% of the genome comprises transposable elements, and they play a very important role in gene regulation. And the work of Barbara McClintock was recognized after about 35 years when she was given a Nobel Prize in 1983. And that was the year when India hosted the 15th International Congress of Genetics that was held in Delhi. And therefore, maize is a very important system and a very interesting system for the geneticist, for the biologist, for the scientists working on maize to work on it and to exploit its scope and potential of this crop. Now we are facing 2 important issues of climate change and also the crop diversification. Climate change is our national issue. Crop diversification is also a very important issue, particularly in wheat, rice cropping system. And maize is a very important potential crop to address this issue of climate change, global warming, and also the crop diversification, where it can play a very important role. The reason is that the requirement of water for maize is just 1/3 of the rice.
तो
The
अब
maize has
मैक्सिमाइज कर देते हैं.
very less global warming potential. It is around 900 to 1400 kg carbon dioxide equivalent per hectare than that of the rice, where it is 3,700 to something like 4,700 kg carbon dioxide equivalent per hectare. More importantly, maize production consumes only 278 kilowatt hour per hectare of electricity as compared with that of the rice, where it is around 3,000 kilowatt hour per hectare respectively. And lastly, rice cultivation gives only 300 to 400 kg of carbon dioxide equivalent per hectare due to methane emission, which is not due to the maize. These are some of the reasons that maize is a very important crop to address some of our national, international, or some of the local issues. The other reasons which support maize as a very potential crop for the country is that this crop is more of an industrial crop, more of a feed crop, which has been mentioned. And it is only a staple food to the extent of around 20% or so. And the major portion of it goes as a poultry feed, around 51%, cattle feed, 12%, starch, around 12%. And it provides a raw material for thousands of industrial products, such as starch, oil, protein, alcohol, beverages, you name anything, food, sweetness, then pharmaceutical, textile, and many other industries. Finally, which has also been mentioned, that during the last few years, the maize area, production and yield has shown tremendous growth, which is around 0.83% in area, 7.09% in production, and 6.21% in yield. It is perhaps the highest as compared with other cereal crops such as rice and wheat. And therefore, this important crop has a great potential for the country. Thus, there is an immense scope of the increased demand of this crop, both nationally as well as in the international market. And therefore, it is a great challenge to the scientists, staff of the Institute to come up to the expectations and the requirement of the farmers, industry, and the country at large. With these words, I again congratulate the IIMR team, including the directors, scientists, and staff, on the occasion of 7th day, and my best wishes to all of them for the growth and the progress of the Institute. And I also thank the organizers, the directors, for inviting me to be a part of this celebration. And thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your wonderful insights and highlighting the importance of maize for geneticists, biologists, and eventually to farmers of the country. Thanks very much. Sir, now I would like to say that the Foundation Day also provides an opportunity to introspect the achievements of an institute. All the IIMR staff is working with dedication under the charismatic leadership of our director, sir. As a convention, the best performing staff is recognized every year. Keeping with that, I would now like to request Director Sir to kindly facilitate recognition of the best performing staff of the Institute in the year 2021. Director Sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Chairman, sir, if you permit, I would like to listen from Dr. R.M. Singh.
Yeah, please.
R.M. Singh, sir. Two of your students are here. Dr. R.M. Singh, sir.
I need to unmute, sir.
No, again, he got disconnected. I think he got disconnected. Dr. Roman, keep an eye. If he again joins back, please let him in. So, sir, this is perhaps the most difficult task for any director to decide, because our institute is in a establishing phase, and each and every scientist, administrative staff, technical staff, supporting staff are contributing immensely. But we need to recognize who have really outperformed others. So we made some criteria, stringent criteria, based on their institutional activities, research achievements, publications, and others in this 1 year. So accordingly, these are the scientists who have been recognized. In scientific category, in scientist grade, Dr. Pradeep Kumar, scientist plant breeding, and Dr. Kishan Kumar, scientist biotechnology. In senior scientist grade, Dr. Saujanya, she's an entomologist, and Dr. Seema Separ, she's an agronomist. And in principal scientist, Dr. Ramesh Kumar, is a breeder. So, and based administrative staff category, we have very little administrative staffs, and they are really giving us immense support. So in the senior administrative staff, it is Shri Prashant Garg. In junior administrative staff, Bhagesh Sharma, and technical Kamal Bhatts. And in supporting staff, Amarnath and Anwar Ali. They are being recognized. So among the other workers in RA, Research Associate, Dhirendra Kumar. Then among the SRFs, jointly, Ashmit Kaur and Shraddha Srivastav. In SRF, it is Chainika. And among the YP2, Ravi Kumar is looking after our administrative work. And then 2 YPs jointly, Abhishek Jha and Omkar Kumar. But I feel that, okay, now these are the 2 research papers, because they have been published in the both in scientific reports, one by Dr. Saujanya, Dr. Shekhar and his team, the entomology group. Another is our biochemistry group, led by Dr. Dharampal. And there are again 2 review papers. They came in critical reviews of plant breeding, plant sciences. One is it is a multi-institutional, led by Dr. Yatish, and another is Dr. Abhijit Das, that is on heterosis to understand the heterosis and other recent developments. So now I personally just note of appreciation among the scientific category, Dr. J.C. Shekhar, who managed the winter nursery program under the COVID situation, where the 7 North India centers material was there, and there was lockdown, severe situation was there, but he managed it very well, along with the obviously other scientists and staff from Winter Nursery Center. And he is also leading the fall armyworm fight, which we are making since 2018, which Dr. O.P. Yadav mentioned. Dr. Dharampal is managing almost single-handedly the PME cell. Dr. Chikappa, for his the challenge which he took to take out the whole germplasm from National Gene Bank and characterize and identifying sources of resistance for various states, particularly for BLSB, for which we are not having any sources of resistance. Dr. S.L. Jat, along with his agronomic research, he is leading our outreach program. Dr. Atish, he is leading our heterotic grouping, what Dr. O.P. Yadav was talking about. Not only for our institute, we have taken the lines from our whole AICRP centers. So he's making immense effort in that. Dr. Roman Sharma, for his outstanding participation in demonstration, particularly that platform which we have established along with CIMIT and state departments and state agricultural universities for yield maximization in Punjab and Haryana. Among our administration, Shri Pramod Sharma for ensuring more than 99% budget utilization, and Samir Kumar for farm management. So this is in brief our scientists. Others have also contributed immensely, but I'm just mentioning here about this staff's contribution. So now, sir, some of the publications which one we would like to physically will not be able to release. So electronically or digitally we are releasing. First is our Dr. Ala Singh.
Yes, sir. The first publication is the annual report 2021 of the institute. So, yes, sir. So next in line is the Krishi Chetna, which is the Hindi magazine of the institute. So now we have IIMR newsletter for the last 6 months. The next is the success stories of promoting improved technology of maize in NEH region. And sir, now is the conservation agriculture. Conservation agriculture in maize-based cropping system in India. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. So now it is the time for much awaited Foundation Day lecture by Dr. R.S. Paroda, Chairman TAS. Sir, I kindly request you to please deliver your Foundation Day lecture.
So you have to unmute, sir. You're on mute.
My apology.
Yeah.
I hope you.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Oh, no, again you are muted.
वही बस कंसेंट आना चाहिए हो गया.
Okay. Is it all right now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good morning to all of you. Today's chairman, Professor Prabhu, Professor R.M. Singh, Professor S.K. Sharma, Dr. R.K. Singh, Dr. Rakshit, the previous directors, Dr. Saidas, Dr. O.P. Yadav. I see among the gathering many other distinguished scientists and staff members of the directorate, which has now become the institute, and Dr. M.L. Jad from CEMET, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Today is an event which is of great relevance to any institute, particularly from the point of view of not only having introspection, but also in the context of looking forward as to what should be the our future approach in terms of achieving newer heights. So I would like to congratulate you for whatever has been achieved. Much has been said with regard to the program, which perhaps was one of the oldest crop improvement programs to begin with. Our country's All India Crop Improvement Program is known globally as one of the most successful programs, and we started with maize. So it is the right time to also recognize the contributions of the coordinators, the first coordinator, Dr. Anil Dhawan, Dr. Joginder Singh, Dr. N.N. Singh. There were also people like Dr. Mukherjee, Dr. S.K. Vasal. He was that time contemporary, 2 years senior to me, but we were doing PhD together. And then Dr. Saidas, Dr. O.P. Yadav, and others. We do appreciate whatever has been done and achieved. The history, as has been told, is of 55 years. It has grown step by step from the coordinated program to that of Directorate of Maize Research in 1994, and then as Maize Institute in 2015. So I always believe that the change is must for any growth, for any institution, and there had been changes. So we should not feel bad that we became institute little later, but maybe you had sound foundations of very eminent readers and researchers to begin with. Having said this, I also now feel that time has come when maize has to be seen as our future crop in the country. We had green revolution through wheat and rice. That green revolution was for household food security, which we need badly. But now time has come that our major goal of SDG 2 relating to zero hunger requires nutritional security. And I see among the cereals, particularly maize, offering great opportunity for having next green revolution in India, which will be for nutrition security. Having said this, I also feel that maize is like soybean, a wonder grain. Soybean is called as wonder grain, but I would say among cereals, maize is a wonder grain as well. Much has been already said, so I don't have to repeat that. But I would like to say that in our country, we have been using this less for food than for other purposes. So our first challenge is whether in future we will like to depend on maize as a food crop. And that has to be seen in the right context and what should be done to see that it doesn't lose its importance as a food crop. At this stage also, I am happy that much achievements have been already mentioned, and I would like to congratulate you, Rakshit, as Dr. O.P. Saidas also said that the contribution of your hybrids for the breeder seed requirement has increased. Also, RK Singh has lauded those achievements. So you need to be congratulated on your foundation day. You say it is 7th foundation day, so you are a young institute. It is good to be young because young can achieve. And we have great hope in our young generation. And what is required is that you need to have a right way forward. And you not only change, but you should be globally wise and act locally. And in that respect, let us see where we stand vis-a-vis global major achievements. And many of Saidas had reflected, and O.P. Yadav also reflected that, and Dr. S.K. Sharma, that we really lagged behind. And maybe due to the kind of understanding at that time of our leaders that probably for a country like India, we needed an approach where there is less of dependence on hybrid seed, which probably would be difficult or costly. And therefore, either go for composites or synthetics or three-way crosses. So maximum we were stuck up at three-way cross. And at that time, I happened to be the Deputy Director General Crops. In fact, I was studying in ICAR-I, though I studied on wheat, but I worked in maize laboratory because my chairman didn't have any lab of his own, being Dean, Dr. A.B. Joshi. So he had assigned me to Dr. Dhawan. So actually I was all the time interacting with Dr. Mukherjee, Dr. Vasal, Dr. Anand Singh, and seeing how exciting developments were taking place and the crop is. This is the most research crop. Dr. S.K. Sharma has already mentioned, starting from those original work using Mendel's laws to that of heterosis and then to those jumping genes of Barbara McClintock, and all breeding methods got defined around it. Even in cytogenetics, the most research crop is maize with 10 chromosomes. We started making slides with maize seeds. So I would not like to go again into those details. We have come a long way, but when we started reviewing why our maize production and productivity was not increasing, it was struck up till 2000 around 10 to 12 million tons. And our productivity was not increasing beyond 10 to 12 quintals per hectare. And that time, then that slide which OP mentioned gave me a real jolt that while countries like US and even China, much was known about research in China at that time, but I'm sure they benefited from those materials from US, that using single cross hybrids, they were harvesting more than 7 tons at that time. And we were stuck up at 1 ton. And then discussed with the scientists, we found out that we don't have single cross maize hybrids. And I said, why don't we have single cross maize hybrids? Why can't we get when they are harvesting and they have this material in US? Then we talked to the private sector. Private sector said, sir, we can bring it, but there is an issue of piracy and you don't have the plant breeders' rights. So Prabhu, there the origin of Plant Variety and Farmers' Right Act emerged. So we started with twin approach. One, to start our own hybrid program, because the private sector would not bring, they would depend on double cross hybrids or 3-way cross hybrids. And therefore we will be always stuck up with the second generation technology. So either we do it ourselves. So we started with, at that time, the new seed policy also had been brought in. And along with that, the hybrid, special hybrid production program came in. And we said we have to go with it. I'm glad people like Sai Das and Anand Singh and other breeders also realized the importance and worked hard. And by 2000, they came up with the single cross maize hybrids. And we also started this draft. And in the record time, we got the PVPR Act approved by the Parliament. I don't think in the history of Parliament you will find an act to be approved in just less than 5 years' time, from drafting to approval. And at that time, then private sector also started coming up because they had this plant breeders' right and come up with their own hybrid materials, and our own hybrids were there. And then when we reviewed what we found, that in 1 decade's time, things completely changed. We doubled our maize production. And the productivity which was struck up immediately jumped. And now I think I'm told it is around 3 tons. Yet when you compare with the productivity levels of say US, which was at that time 7 ton, is now 10 ton. And when you look at other countries in terms of productivity, we are number 7. So when you look at Argentina has 7 ton, China 6 ton, and China had 6 ton even that time when we were reviewing. And Brazil again around 5.7, or Indonesia even is higher than us. In Asia, China and Indonesia are the 2 countries having higher productivity than India, and India is still at 3.1. So no doubt at one stage we feel that we have done great job and achieved, but on the other side we have miles to go. So when we look at global scenario and compare ourselves, fortunately in area we are number 4. That is a good sign. Of course, China has highest area under male, which is around, I think, 30 million hectare. We need to also improve our area. So there is an option now, whether to go horizontal or vertical. Recently, we had reviewed through TAS to bridge the yield gaps. And we find that these yield gaps are really quite alarming and need to be addressed, and addressed by various states. The majority of states growing rather more than half of the maize produced in the central India, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Rajasthan. And the area there is almost 80% rain-fed. So obviously we have to see whether we can make these gray areas green through maize is one option. Using conservation agriculture approach, using possibilities there are, but we don't have those. So policy support for GM crop like maize. So hybrid, herbicide tolerant maize is also available. Perhaps will make a difference and make a great impact there. So when we see this, I do globally, when you look at maize is number 1 crop among cereals. Many people may possibly not be aware. It is number 1 crop, producing something like about 1,160 million tons, whereas wheat is number 2, which is 765 million tons, and rice is 500 million tons, which is number 3. In India, on the contrary, rice is number 1 with 44 million hectare area and production of 120 million ton. Wheat number 2 with 30 million hectare area and production of 109. I presume that the wheat will be number 1 soon, taking over rice, because you can't afford to continue with that large area. So if from rice area is to be, shifted, then the potential crop is only maize. That's what I see. And whether it is in irrigated or whether it is rain-fed, both. Whether it is Eastern India, whether it is Northeastern states, and whether it is rain-fed rice. Rain-fed rice has to be on priority replaced first. And that's where again maize has potential. So we have to target our approach also for research relating to these areas. It was said that we have to improve productivity in, say, irrigated rice wheat system. We have to, already there is policy support. Even Haryana has announced 7,000 rupees per acre for diversification if one will like to grow maize. Chhattisgarh has come forward with 10,000 rupees per acre for again diversification. So there are opportunities. And when you look at Bihar, the winter maize especially is amazing growth and amazing progress, more than 7 tons. So it's not that in India you cannot achieve. And my thinking is that we have to make now maize, because the use of maize is multifarious. Every part of it has its commercial value, and it has tremendous opportunities for livestock sector, whether it is for poultry or for livestock, for feed. It has tremendous opportunities also for industry, starch. It has tremendous opportunities also for now ethanol production, biofuel. And that's another emerging area which we should not lose sight of. And therefore, the challenge is to increase the area under maize, which is currently around 10 million hectares, and maize productivity, which is 30 million ton. So I'll come to this in my last part. But at this time, I would like to say that when the growth rate among the cereals is the highest, as was mentioned before, more than 3.5 highest compared to rice and wheat. And when we need to diversify our rice wheat system, for which I see tremendous opportunities are there, at least 10 to 15 million tons rice wheat area in the Indo-Gangetic plain has a great option for it. It can also be taken to spring maize. It can be also thought of in winter maize and winter areas and so on. So in that regard, I look at opportunities by going forward. And going forward, when we reviewed recently, we found that still area under hybrid coverage in maize is not more than 70%. Why can't we make it 95 or 100% when this is the technology and available with us? Forget about GM maize, the current maize technology, and the all private sector is interested. All multinationals are interested in having maize as a hybrid program in India and making lot of profits. So in that respect, and the national system, whatever hybrids we have, how it can reach the end user. The major challenge there again is of policy paralysis, that we have been not able to partner with corporate sector to gain from the achievements in public institutions for hybrid research in most of the crops, including vegetables. And there you need more innovative approach, because when you just give this technology on few lakhs of rupees to number of people, there is no incentive. It has to be exclusive licensing, maybe not for entire country, but for a specific area. Area-wise, exclusive licensing can be for 5, 6, 7 corporate sector. And then partnership for sharing the benefits, access and benefit sharing, about which private sector is willing. But I think public sector has not yet been able to come out with clear policies. If hybrid had gone to the farmers, at that time, I will tell you, I was that time Deputy Director General, we got a policy decision done that all seeds of the parental seeds of inbred lines and would be made available free of cost to the private sector. Now, when that was done, what is the problem that we cannot have partnership with private sector when their involvement is critical for going forward, and when public sector institutions are not able to bridge this gap of higher seed replacement through hybrid seed. This is one point. The other point is that we have to think in terms of current challenges. Challenges, I have already said, increasing productivity. We cannot lag behind. What is our target for the next, say, 2030? By the time SDG has to be met for the nutrition security for maize, by 2020, what is our target? And in that respect, I see that we need to think in the context of, again, I would say, when Prabhu, you were there, when we were discussing whether India will achieve 100 million tons of wheat. And even Professor Dr. Rajaram was saying, Dr. Saab, it is too ambitious target. And we said, no, we will achieve it. Though we didn't achieve it by 1995, but we did achieve in 1998 because there were 2-3 drought years. Otherwise, we were on the target to achieve that. So if you don't have any target, if you don't have any goal, so maybe on the foundation day, you take a decision. And in my view, there are two ways. As I said, either you increase area and increase production because the demand is tremendous. And your current demand, I am told, by 2030 would be around 45 million ton for maize. Why not we think of doubling the maize production now by 2030? Which means today you are 30, make it 60. So you meet your demand 45 and you have excess either for export or for diverting it for ethanol production. US has already diverted it. About a decade ago, they started. Their diversion is not only 1%, 10%, 20%, it is now 40%. 40% of maize in US, otherwise maize farmers would not survive. And here we are also thinking of doubling farmers' income. We are thinking of providing incentive, and incentive will be only through new opportunities and options. And government has come up with a policy of blending ethanol to the level of 20% by next 5 years. So who are going to provide that? And our commitment to COP26 and Paris Agreement is to reduce our dependence on fossil fuel. And therefore, we have to go aggressively on renewable energy sources. And only sugarcane and maize are the two best options. So I see this. So there are two options. One is from current 10 million hectare area, can you make it 15 million by next 8 years? And if that, where? Which way? I see northeastern region has great potential. Rice wheat area has great potential. But you would require technology and of course policies, I'll come to those, and incentives to the farmers, which are already starting. So either area you try to increase from 10 to 12, 15 million ton, then you can continue with your productivity in a slow pace from 3 to 4 ton. But I would say you have great potential of increasing productivity because technology is already there. It's only an issue of, as was rightly said, what you need now is a twin pillar approach, not only the single pillar of around genetic enhancement, but the other important pillar around natural resource management, good agronomic practices, and maybe conservation agriculture and so on. So in that context, from 3 to 4 rather, I would say we go from 3 to 5 tons. And if you go to 5 tons, then you don't need more area. You need area from 10 to 12 million hectare only. With 5 ton and 12 million. Take your 60. Just a thought. So you have to really now see where are the best possibilities and what we can do, and give a blueprint to the government. Let there be a mission for maize production in India to double the maize production in future and help all states to go towards better natural resource management. COVID-19 has given that lesson that we cannot continue over exploiting. Our economic survey of India for last 3 years now telling, no doubt we needed green revolution, but now when we have enough food, people are saying it was over exploitative technology. But without that, we would have been dependent and eating those red wheats, which I used to eat when we were importing 10 million tons of wheat at that time. So this is one point. But for this, you would require public-private partnership. You would require new innovative ways, maybe through the plant variety protection, some kind of initiative by which there can be intellectual property rights well protected. Because there are concerns also relating to that in the private sector. Incentives by the government, which are in right direction. I think why not Punjab should come forward? Why not UP should come forward? Are they not having same problems? More water requirement and so on. And then we have all the potential of expanding area in the northeastern region. And maize is a crop which is grown in all countries in the world. Even wheat is not grown in all countries, and rice is also not grown in all countries. 170 countries grow maize. And India, you can grow everywhere. All states grow maize. Starting from Kashmir to go to Arunachal Pradesh, or you go to south. So what is that strategy? Then obviously we would require, when we want to diversify and go towards maize, and when you look at the example of most sustainable system of production in the rain-fed area, it is maize soybean system in the US. If that system would have not been there, possibly they would have not been able to continue with that conservation agriculture system which they have. And the same is now taking place in case of Brazil and also in Argentina. And Australia is also following the similar approach. So we will have to think while we bring the maize in rice wheat area, we will have also to think of bringing the maize as well as soybean in those over-exploitative production systems. Having said this, I said about use of maize for biofuel. The policy for GM crops is again stopping us to achieve. Maybe in your paper you can say, if we want to really achieve and make maize a future crop of the country, then there is no other way but to go for GM approach. Biofortification. Let us remember Dr. Vasal's contribution. I wish he was participating today, but he is in today Amritsar for some family function. I did talk to him. A great achievement indeed. No one would, we would at that time never imagine that this negative linkage will be broken between the lysine and methionine. And with the higher content of lysine and methionine, you are able to have double the production of poultry and pigs in just 20 to 25 days. Now, this is the best fortified crop. Now we are talking of other fortified crops, iron rich. Here it is protein rich, and our country is deficient of protein. Maximum protein malnourished children in India. So I see great option. You have already QPM hybrids, but then the policy on QPM, because QPM, there is a penalty, yield penalty, which has to be understood, which has to be. So if it is there no yield penalty on Basmati, Prabhu?
Yes,
But
there
you
is.
have higher price for Basmati.
Yeah.
So why not higher price for when we are getting more protein for our, nutrition security in the country? But that message has not gone. We have to tell, we have to bring different message, and that's what I see. We are possibly losing an opportunity, and we have to be more aggressive. And for policy decisions, the best message should be informed knowledge through scientists reaching the policy makers. So have we done that job ourselves? Is a challenge which has to be taken if we could not do before. And then, no doubt, we would require doubling of the research support. Whatever is being given to maize or maize breeding program and coordinated program, this has to be further strengthened. You have to define which center has to undertake what kind of activity, which kind of hybrids, QPM or single cross, or even GM approach. Why not? If not today, I'm sure maybe not today, tomorrow GM food crops will have to come. There is no option. We can't go Sri Lanka way through organic farming. I think we are going to, but the question is, we act only when there is crisis. When there was crisis, we had all support. At that time also there was resistance for dwarf peats, that it will, eliminate all our biodiversity, and it is all going for maize and wheat, and all other crops are getting reduced priority. So we have to, in that context, think of that. There has to be incentives for biofortified maize or QPM maize. We have to think in the context of long-term policies. India has great potential for export of maize as feed, and also for industry already there. But for feed, because we are very strategically located, even China is importing, having higher area. They are also importing maximum of grains, whether it is, they also consider soybean as food crop. So soybean, maize, or even wheat for their feed purpose. So in that respect, we have great potential for the South Eastern countries, and we have another potential for value addition, about which you had mentioned, Rakshit, and value addition in the context of going for baby corn, sweet corn, popcorn. Mexican food is becoming popular now in India. Tortillas, burritos, popcorn, which Dr. Saidas provided me. I found the best one. My grandchildren are asking, where is that popcorn seed? Why can't we have some more? So, and young generation is all fond of that kind of food. So it will, the food demand will increase on maize. We have also been eating in the past, but we had our own difficulties in terms of, retaining the maize flour for a long time, and also making chapatis from maize. But with all these advancements and technologies for value addition, I have no doubt that maize would be more used than what you are talking today as a food crop. So having said all this, I would like to conclude, because my time is already over, that let us rather decide today, because if not today, we will be late. And Foundation Day is the day which can give us some kind of impetus to do yet more if our previous achievements have been appreciated. So that appreciation is already there, sir. Many a times this appreciation doesn't come from above. And you have great strength. We have young generation, young scientists. They are, I think, more energetic, more knowledgeable and informed than possibly we were. We had to go to library and sit till midnight to get a journal. And here you get all information sitting on your desk today. And the technologies, the genome editing offers opportunity. Now, when you look at recent achievement of heart transplant in human being from pig heart was transplanted through GM pig, not otherwise. And that GM pig, because of the genome editing of 10 genes, 6 genes were replaced of pig and 4 genes of human were transferred there. So it was not just done like that. It is not so easy. But these opportunities, could we ever think of that the heart of pig will be also tomorrow available for human heart transplant? So sky is the limit. And these opportunities are available. We are waiting for our guidelines for genome editing to be approved. I hope government takes some decision soon. We all have to continue hammering that. Prabhu is doing it, and Mahapatra is also trying hard, and earlier Renu Sook tried her best, but that doesn't mean we should get disheartened. We should continue taking the right message to the policy makers, and they do listen. But only thing is whether we are putting right case before them and convincing them that this is necessary. If you don't convince them that tomorrow you need integrated nutrient management, then they would say that you don't need any inorganic fertilizer. You only can go for zero-based natural farming or zero-budget natural farming. So it all depends on what kind of message is given for policy decision. I had worked with policy makers. They do listen, but you have to have a case. If this hybrid project was not there, this hybrid project came from Prime Minister's office. It didn't come otherwise. And it came because there was objection which I had put on bulk import of hybrid seed of vegetables and cereals. The private sector has convinced the Rajiv Gandhi government and Rajiv Gandhi that time that why not you make the jump in your productivity by importing in bulk quantity. And there was directive from PMO, and I was in fact summoned there that why you are objecting. And then when we argued, they said, okay, yes, you have a case to go in for your own public system hybrids. So how much fund you need? And then just in one day's discussion was 40 crores at that time. And the project was started in 15 days. So it's not, I mean, that we cannot, and no doubt you need for that, for making all these achievements. If we try to look finally, I would like to say the cradles of success are you need policy support, you need institution. We didn't have an institute on maize. I wanted it long back, but somehow from IRI, the maize breeders never wanted to move out. So I just couldn't help. One would not grow under banyan tree. And that's how I shifted wheat to Karnal, and I had displeasure from Dr. Borlaug, but then I convinced him later. And he said that this was a right decision. So you have an institute, now you have human resource, now you have to have more research support, you have to build partnership with private sector, and you have to have your future goals very clearly defined. And I see that because I grew with maize as a young boy. In the field, it was only maize which was we eating at that time, or bajra. But maize you could eat right in the field by just harvesting and popping them. So this is a great crop. It has opportunities. Let us see that in future, if not today, in I think 21st century, I am sure maize would emerge as probably the most important food crop in our country. When I say food crop, it is also food for animals, so food, feed, and whatever. So it's usage. So maize will emerge as an important crop in our country, because there is no other way out, and we have to go to support it all in all. So with this, I would like to, Dr. Prabhu, thank you, and also Dr. Rakshit, and all other colleagues. And I apologize for taking a little long, but my purpose was to catalyze you, because we cannot now at this stage achieve all these what I have talked. It is all to be achieved through you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your words of appreciation and encouragement. You have highlighted the relevance of maize in sustainable development goals of zero hunger and nutrition security, and also highlighted the challenges and new areas which will form the focus of future research in the institute. Thanks a lot for your insightful lecture, sir. Now I would like to request Dr. K.V. Prabhu, sir, Chairman, PPV and FRA, for his remarks.
Thank you. Most honored to be here today, to be listening to most distinguished and the most respectable and one of the greatest visionaries Indian agriculture has produced. I would say that without hesitation, Dr. R.S. Paroda. My teacher, Professor R.M. Singh, Dr. S.K. Sharma, today's distinguished guest of honor. Then my previous senior colleagues, Dr. Sai Das, Dr. O.P. Yadav, so many other dignitaries sitting here. It was wonderful to listen to Professor R.S. Paroda today, who not only took in whatever Dr. O.P. said, whatever Dr. Sai Das said, and whatever Dr. Sharma mentioned in their remarks, in their opinions on maize, and summarizing what Sujay mentioned in his briefing of the current year's achievement. What Dr. Paroda has given us today in his lecture has been tremendous input based, tremendous information based, and tremendous practical applicability based in his opinion. That's why I said the visionary point. He didn't give, say, magic words. He didn't give any imaginary situations. That's what is really great. I think you're not aging at all. So that is something fantastic about your bearing. You're showing no signs of, you keep saying the other day when you spoke, you mentioned about something that you need to now hand over into ages. It is not so. You are looking the same almost, and your say mental agility in accepting and absorbing and removing the say fine points in which we get lost and taking out what is required for India to adopt. That is simply super. And you said all that when you mentioned it in talking about how to get soybean maize coming in as countries had done, or how to look at the rice wheat to be replaced by maize and things of this kind. So this is, Sujay, if this is recorded, I think you have to listen to it multiple times to convert many of that as doable, because many of the things which you mentioned, almost everything which you mentioned are doable. So I believe something which you mentioned in terms of increasing the hybrid area to 95%. Yes, I think goals of this kind have to be fixed, and it is possible. Sujay, it is possible because like Tara is here. When I mentioned to the Pearl Miller Group in Delhi and Maize Group in Delhi, we will fund no research on composite. They were not happy with it. As head of the division and JDR, I stopped the objective on composites. We have to take such stands. So if, as Dr. Paroda says, 95% may be too much, you can get from 70 to 90% at least. And that can be done by preventing the public sector through your directive, through the ICAR, to say that no breeder seed or no composite production related seed distribution and seed sale shall be made available for public sector. As a policy, it can be done. Their secretary can use his bureaucratic responsibility in giving this direction to state governments, state universities, as well as, of course, ICAR, to stop doing research on composites. Use composites to only filter out good inbreds if possible. That part is different, but not as composite. Things are this kind. I'm just telling you one off the cuff from what Dr. Paroda mentioned in his talk. That is the way we should go about it. It will not be a very happy situation. They may not be liking it. Many people may not say even appreciate the value of it. It takes years to see the value of such things. So that is very important. Now, when it is, for example, rice wheat to maize wheat, is simple. Rice replaced in maize, replaced by maize in kharif. What about the winter maize? What about the rabi maize? Is it going to be rice maize in that area? And as OP said, agronomy is something important, as also Dr. Paroda mentioned very clearly. Agronomy is most important in maize, and that is the least say technology input that has come from the ICAR or state agriculture university system. And that's why we are see the same hybrids which are giving more than 7 tons elsewhere, similar hybrids on the same private sector, is not doing that good in India, despite the private sector's own field-based assessments and field-based recommendations and their field operators. With all that, it is not happening. And the diversity in India is not something the private sector has ever been prepared to with their hybrids. It is in say 1,000 hectares on which those hybrids were, say, developed by Pioneer or whichever company it is. That cannot be directly imported into India and directly put in India, even if as arranged by the ICAR under the leadership of Dr. Paroda, that hybrids could be brought in or seed production can be taken up with the national seed policy. With those facilitation, the agronomy part still got lacking, even in the private industry. So therefore, I believe IIMR should make it an essential part to now incorporate the agronomy with respect to not only Kharif maize, but also with respect to the maize that is coming in Rabi, because now the duration is not going to be the 75, 90, 130 days. When it comes to Rabi maize, it's almost something like 160 to 180 days. So that accommodation and how the orientation of synchronization between the say tassel and the silk development, and then whether such system can be used for better seed hybrid seed production and how that can be synchronized. Things of this kind are not done yet. And this is where IIMR has to come in. And that will be the area where even private sector will come to you to get that research output, because they don't have that kind of facilitation to do that research. Agronomy research is only on developed varieties. There is no reverse of, based on given agronomy, how varieties can come in is not there with them. You have to do it. The start point is material. Agronomy is a requirement, and how the two have to be marginal, optimized, is to be something that you have to do. So you can focus a big area for maize. For example, Telangana last year decided they will not grow Rabi maize. I think you're aware of this. As a policy decision, they said they believed it is untenable. They would go for sorghum. Fine, sorghum, sorghum is fine enough, but they decided they will not go for the Rabi maize because economy-wise, price of the product compared to the price the industry is getting to buy maize from UP and Bihar is not comparable from that of Telangana cost of Rabi. Which means the varieties are not as suitable, although quality of product is better in Telangana compared to that in Rabi Bihar or Rabi UP. But the price is not something that the industry wishes to buy for the sake of that quality for feeding their chicken or pigs. Which either you have a selling point for the Telangana area to have that kind of protein, as Dr. Paroda mentioned about the high, say QPM maize or things like this, which will enhance the extra money they have to pay for Telangana maize and generate more, say, flesh or more meat from buying Telangana maize. Things of this kind have to be done by IIMR only. It will not be possible for private industry to develop those kinds of, say, policy drives and also guidelines for the policy makers to take decisions. Because I thought the Telangana decision was drastic and damaging to Rabi maize and maize in general in South, at least this, that part of Deccan Plateau. This one success in Telangana, for example, will transfer automatically to Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh in the maize area, and you cannot stop it. So that these are the things which you have to put your thought to and make your scientists work in working out what was that missing link which disabled Telangana to gain better economics. It's agronomy only. Of course, unsuitable variety and more importantly, agronomy. So this kind of thing are better suitable varieties in sorghum compared to the agronomic suitability of maize at the same crop level comparison. So things of this kind have to be done by IIMR, I believe. And do see, when you presented, you did not highlight this part of the Rabi maize agronomy intervention and replacement of wheat by maize in that area, which will make generally Swarna followed by maize, that is rice followed by maize. And what is going to be the soil related say problems if that is taken in larger area? Right now it is about 1.8 million hectares or around that million hectares in Rabi, isn't it? It's that kind of area. And if you say, as Dr. Paroda mentioned, you have to target to make India produce 40 million tons, and with more than 3 tons average in Rabi area, Rabi looks very lucrative. Rabi maize looks very lucrative, like sorghum has done already now. It looks lucrative, and that has to be supported by good agronomy and good pathology-related output. That is where I think IIMR has to focus, looking at this wonderful adaptation this maize crop shows. And double haploid is another important factor which O.P. Yadav mentioned, and that's the right thing. That's one of the greatest points which has to be exploited. Which has to be exploited in the sense, you have to see like Chikapa took all those 7,000 plus materials to screen their say value and their revival. How many of them are easily amenable for haploid production? If some of them carried any of the known pioneer or that kind of hybrids, those inbreds, if they came from that lineage, or from Iowa or wherever, because you will know the history of those, then try those to see if you can get variant from them as inbred production system to see which can give you the best heterotic possibility. That is how you can look at the adaptability of the hybrids to a shorter duration crop in Rabi. 180 days, 165 days plus is not an affordable replacement to wheat in Bihar. And today, because wheat has done excellently well with newer varieties, which are turning out even 5 to 5.5 tons on an average in sectors in Bihar today, to beat that from maize with the current maize is not possible. So you have to work hand in hand with these developments, corresponding developments, other crops, to be competitively better than them. So these are the things on which IIMR has to take a pledge. And I appreciate Dr. Paroda's point of do it on the 7th foundation day. 7 is a very nice number, as OP mentioned. And that be taken, you take two or three small things, but make it. Like one is that hybrid be 95% or 90%, whatever you decide, based on the availability of material. It cannot be a blanket drive, but if you believe that you have inbreds available for all agronomies or production conditions, then bring accordingly a restriction on different state governments in selling, at least from the public sector. And have it, see, private sector is definitely not selling any non-hybrids. It's only to the public you're getting composites distributed and things like this, right? So therefore, it is quite important that you take a pledge of this kind and see what happens. It does not matter if people will not follow in the first year, but they will. But I have seen it happening from where I am sitting today. Dr. Paroda mentioned while talking about popularizing the hybrids and how plant breeders' right is important to enable that from private industry. He also mentioned private industry has a concern in terms of the drives from PPFR. That is because of the point that in the hybrids, we have now started asking only for the parents and getting the parents tested and getting the parents to produce hybrids and see that they are actually the parents of the hybrids. And I already caught 2 multinational companies who actually did not give the parents for the hybrids they were claiming protection for. And without parents, there is no protection of hybrids. Because protection of hybrids will mean the commercialization should be possible. The industry has to be able to license. They cannot license with the hybrid. They allow to license only the parents. And if somebody catches infringement, it is only from comparable and testable by having the parents. Minus parents, it cannot be done. I just want to inform Dr. Paroda, sir, in the case of US, the pioneer in plant protection, although UPOV set up the line, but US was the first country to protect plant variety or patent plant variety in 1931. And they don't protect hybrid, sir. US does not give protection to hybrid. Canada does not give protection to hybrid. They give protection only to the parents. This is a point that you may note, sir, whenever industry tells us the same industry is doing that in the USA. But here, because we were not doing it earlier, and they are trying to put pressure or influence by talking to leaders about this change which has been brought in. Dr. O.P. Yadav was the chairman of the committee who set up the guidelines for enabling this system. Thank you, Dr. O.P. Yadav, for putting it very effectively. And that has worked now. That has started working. Now they are coming in now. After that's why I'm saying this is not about my point, but about the setting of 95% hybrid as a rule, prevent composites and populations and OP to be, not OP Yadav, or the open pollinated materials to be sold from the public sector. Do this, things like this will work. And interested people will do it. And that is how you can replace the non-hybrid sector with hybrid. Private is anyway going to do it. So public, if it does, the farmer is also doing. So these are the things which are important for IIMR to do. And this is a wonder crop. There is no doubt about its being queen of crops, actually. Like queen of genetics is Drosophila. In the crop sector, I would say queen of genetics is maize. And I would also like to inform Dr. Paroda and others here, the genome editing guidelines which we drafted and put up for approval is now lying with the Honorable Minister of Environment. This is what the Secretary told me, that he has put it up to the Minister, it's up to him. So I believe a little more, drive, a little more pressure and little more insistence from senior leaders like Dr. Paroda with the concerned polity, maybe we will see the light of the day. And with that, you will definitely make a big impact in maize immediately. Because with the double haploid facility available, there is nothing like it. Okay, genome editing is really not that big draw in terms of technology, in terms of the directed production of mutant, which you can do as you wish. So that is not going to be such a difficult thing for the people in our ICAR system and IIMR or any other research institution to adopt in India. So I believe giving these proceedings or remarks and prioritizing the system would help to an extent that the country will be benefited at large. Our Honorable Prime Minister is all willing to deal with the requirements. Even though there has been a support for natural farming, at least Honorable Prime Minister has not left the new technologies along with it whenever he is saying this. So he's aware of this. And I must also tell Dr. Paroda, after this directive from ICAR, the founder of the so-called zero budget or the natural farming technology, he has refused to accept that this technology works. He says now Palekar technology is not the natural farming technology. Natural farming is not going to work. He has written this letter to Direct IRI after I requested Direct IRI to ask him to be consultant for this new system that ICAR has asked all institutions to do based on the cabinet decision. And he himself has said he will not be able to guide because it is a technology that does not work. These are the words written by him in writing. Mr. Palekar. He says Palekar technology may work, but not natural farming. This is what he has said. So this is something important. So this is not to be diverting our attention from these newer avenues available in getting the things done. So genome editing is something that IIMR, because maize will be the best crop to immediately put it with the double haploid facility that you have, followed by rice. So this is what I wanted to discuss with you. I had the pleasure, I must say, to listen to not only Dr. S.K. Sharma, also Dr. Sai Das after a very long time, who is also looking as young as he was. I think working with maize gives that ability to be nutritively fed well, as is gleaming OP. All of you looking very, very young and good. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity, and I'm grateful to you for identifying me to be here with you today. Thank you so much, sir. All the best to all of you, and great job done, and succeed.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir, for setting the goals and highlighting areas where public sector maize can partner with private sector on equal terms. Thanks a lot for these insightful comments. Now I would like to request Dr. J.C. Shekhar, sir, Principal Scientist, IIMR, for delivering vote of thanks.
Sorry, am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So good afternoon to all. Respected, most respected Honorable Dr. R.S. Paroda, sir, Dr. K.V. Prabhu, Chairman PPV FRA, and then respected R.K. Singh, ADG CC and FFC, Dr. S.K. Sharma, former VC CSK SHVP, our beloved former director, Dr. Sainda sir and Dr. O.P. Yadav sir, and our director, Dr. Sujay Rakshit, and then directors from ICAR, other sister institutes, scientists from AICRP, IIMR, public-private sector, and thanks for joining in this program. I am honored to propose vote of thanks on 7th Foundation Day of Indian Institute of Maize Research We are very thankful to Dr. R.K. Singh for giving the opening remarks and the suggested us to you include all the suggestions given by the chief guest and chairman, sir. We will definitely do it, sir, under the guidance of Dr. Sudarakshit. And we are very thankful to our former director, Dr. Sainda, sir, for giving his a valuable insight into it. And also he is the one of the important founders for the promotion of the single cross hybrid in 2017. We have the opportunity to work with Dr. Saindas from 2006, and still he is supporting us in all the aspects of in-bed improvement in our program. And thank you very much, Saindas sir, for giving your valuable time in giving the suggestion for the improvement of the MAIS program. So we are very grateful to Dr. O.P. Yadav sir, former director of ICAR-IIMR and the director of CASRI, for giving the important importance of maize and dynamics of maize production and utilization pattern, and also your valuable suggestion including the agronomy for exploiting the germplasm and needs, and also full utilization of the genetic diversity. Sir, you are the one who initiated the in your leadership at ICAR-IIMR, the utilization of segregating material from the different centers of AACRP to be planted at the winter nursery center in alternate years, so that this germplasm can be utilized by the AACRP centers in their breeding program. Thank you very much, sir, for giving your valuable time and giving the important suggestion for the maize improvement. We are very grateful to Dr. S.K. Sharma, sir, former Vice Chancellor, and also he was the IC member. Sir has given a valuable suggestions in improving our research program during the tenure ICAR-IIMR. Thank you, sir, for giving the intense insight of hybrid maize breeding. We are very grateful to you, sir, giving your valuable time on our foundation day. We are very grateful to Dr. Padma Bhushan R.S. Paroda, sir, for giving us the Sorry, sir, there is a network issue. I am audible now, sir.
Yes.
So we are very grateful to Padma Bhushan, Dr. R.S. Paroda, sir, for giving us the valuable suggestions for the improving the maize productivity and all the importance of diversification of maize towards renewable energy sources, and also increasing the maize hybrids from 70 to 95%, and also the public-private partnership mode, and also innovation waste to IPR to be well protected, conservation agriculture importance in maize production system, and also utilization of maize in the rice wheat, and also maize soybean production system to be used, and also importance of GM approach, maybe the future strategy in the maize production system, and biofortification and value addition of maize programs, relevance of maize in sustainable development challenges. The suggestions given by you are valuable suggestions for the maize improvement. We will definitely implement in our future programs, sir. Thank you very much for your giving the Foundation Day lecture and giving the valuable suggestions for the maize improvement, maize and increasing the maize production and productivity. Thank you very much, sir. We are very grateful to you for giving you your valuable time. Thank you very much, sir. So we are very grateful to Dr. K.V. Prabhu, sir, really accepting to act as a chairman of this 7th Foundation Day. Sir, you have given very important information. We will definitely assure you that we will increase our hybrid production under the leadership of Dr. Sudarakshit from 90%. And also almost we have stopped our composite breeding program. Since the scientists are as a director and O.P. Yadav sir's period, we have stopped our research on the composite breeding program for the release of varieties. And also your suggestion to reduce the composite as a breeded seed. This is a welcome suggestion, sir. This will definitely be implemented by our institute. and also the importance of agronomy in the exploiting the full utilization of the hybrids, sir, and the incorporation of breeding the varieties which are a short duration, which is more needed for the Rabi and winter season, sir, which are taking more than 150 to 180 days. So that is one of the important aspects we will definitely use, sir. And also germplasm amenable for DS production. We are very happy that Dr. Paroda sir has inaugurated the DS facility. On behalf of IMR, we also attended that program at IRS Clinical Leave. That was a very beautiful site and also beautiful facilities are created by CIMET, and definitely we will utilize this production in the increase in our producing our productive lines in the maize for the development of maize. So I am very grateful to our director, Dr. Sujay Rakshit, for highlighting the significant achievements for the 2021. And also I am happy to share that this is the 5th Foundation Day we are celebrating under his dynamic leadership. Thank you very much, sir, for highlighting all the things and also arranging the 7th Foundation Day beautifully. We are very grateful to all the directors, ICAR family, IIMR family members, and also ASCRP, public-private sector, all the scientists from the seed sector, and for joining is the 7th Foundation Day today. So we are very grateful to all who have joined in making this program a grand success. Thank you very much, sir. Now there is one suggestion, request to all the participants to join the national webinar on boosting maize production in North NEH region forward, which will start at 14:30. I request all of you to join this program and make that program as also a grand success. Thank you very much once again to all of you who has joined in on the 7th Foundation Day of IIMR. Thank you very much, sir. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Prabhu, sir.